Watching the return of the hostages is both heartbreaking and joyful and emotional at all the same time. One stands out specifically, the story of Agam Berger, the story of Agam Berger, the 18-year-old girl who was taken captivity with her friends at the same time. A young girl, fragile girl, taken for 482 days held in horrific conditions, starvation, no basic hygiene, isolation, and so on. But on the way back, when she was in a helicopter, she wrote the following message and posted it. B'derech emuna bacharti, b'derech emuna shavti. In the path of faith have I chosen, the path of faith I return. And she shared how in captivity, on the most difficult situations, she decided to keep her faith, to practice her Judaism, even in the most horrific times. She shared that on Shabbat, she refused to cook for her captives. Something, of course, she was allowed to do because she was in dire situations, but she held strong. She also decided not to eat meat because it wouldn't be kosher. And she prayed every day, and she felt that her faith and her prayers and her mitzvot is what kept her going. Her mother, Meirav, requested that if she comes out on Shabbat, the media shouldn't take any photos in order not to violate Shabbat. But by a twist of fate, she came out a few days before Shabbat, and there was no violation of Shabbat with the media or the photos. In this week's Torah reading, we read about the Exodus. We read about how the Jews became free people, how we became free people 3,000 years ago. Parshat Bo teaches us and tells us all about how to be free. The Jews, as Jews, we've celebrated the Exodus every single year on Passover, but also every single day we mention it. It's core to who we are, it's core to our belief system. And even in most difficult times, when we were not free externally, we were in captivity ourselves, we still celebrated Passover as best as we could. We ate the matzah, we ate the bitter herbs, and we shared the story, because the Exodus gave us freedom that no one could take away. A deep freedom, a spiritual freedom, where we connect to something beyond. And even when externally, physically, we're in captivity, we are still free, because our soul, our neshama, is free, and that no one could take away from us. And that's what Agam showed us, that even in the worst times, even when we were in captivity, even she was in captivity, she held on to her faith and she held on to her freedom. May God bless us that we should all be free. We should all be free in our own lives. Even if we're walking around as free, we should be spiritually free as well. And even if, God forbid, we're in captivity, we should still be free physically. May God send home all the hostages, transform the world into a free world with the coming of Mashiach. May we experience our own Exodus. Shabbat Shalom.